Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I listened for the last 30 minutes, and I found only about 3 minutes of the member's presentation referred to the motion. The rest of it, Mr. Speaker, was all over the place, as if there was no target to which she aimed, to which the honorable member aimed. But, Mr. Speaker, I will still address a few of the issues that the honorable member raised. I want to remind this honorable House that democracy returned to Guyana in 1992. Again, it was stifled. It was stifled after the no confidence vote, and it was through hard struggle. And because the people of Guyana stood up, again, we are in a democratic state, and democracy will prevail, and no bullyism is going to prevent that from happening. Not under our watch, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member said something about the day of reckoning. Well, the day of reckoning was the 2nd of March, 2020. Mr. Speaker, talking about records and setting records. Well, if we have no confidence in the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, and that should be a committee in which everyone in and out of Guyana has confidence, then we need to vote on it, we need to discuss it. But if you want to talk about records, Mr. Speaker, what about the record for the number of days after which a no confidence motion was moved to the date of elections? What about the record for the number of days that passed between the day of election and the final announcement of results? Mr. Speaker, those are records that Guyana would bow its head for. Mr. Speaker, talking about kleptocracy, well, don't know what to say about that. Who talking about it? Mr. Speaker, again, I'm saying that the PAC should have confidence in the chairman. The entire committee should have confidence. And we have never said that we want a chairman from the PPP, Civic, or any other person. It must come from the main opposition party. And what am I hearing? Am I hearing that there is no one else in the main opposition who could be a good, eligible chairman or chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee? Then the people of Guyana is being given a lot of news. Mr. Speaker, where is justifiable reason for motion? Mr. Speaker, let me quote from a document that was given to us by the Speaker after the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee decided by himself that he, the honorable chairman, would remove an item or put an asterisk on an item on the agenda. I am quoting from a document that was shared to every member of the Public Accounts Committee. I wish to state that the chairperson of a committee does not have the authority to place an asterisk against a member's motion. Only the mover of the motion or another member duly authorized by that member may move that the consideration of the motion be deferred. Yet, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee took that on himself and made no change for that. Mr. Speaker, I continue, quoting again, I wish to suggest, and this document is addressed to Mr. David Patterson, MP, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. And the Speaker is advising, I wish to suggest that you familiarize yourself with our standing orders and other parliamentary procedures in order to enhance your chairmanship of the Public Accounts Committee. Your action of placing an asterisk against a member's motion is a gross violation of the standing orders and is tantamount to bullyism. As Speaker of the National Assembly, I will not sit idly by and allow members of parliamentary committees to be bullied by chairpersons. I will intervene. I remind you that the parliamentary committee is a microcosm of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, if my mind wasn't made up before, it was made up after this piece of advice that we received from you. And in addition to that, you had attached documents to support your position. Mr. Speaker, I have been in several committees and in and out of Parliament. I've chaired some of them myself. Mr. Speaker, it is the first time that I encountered something like this, where the clerk is called to provide advice to the committee, and then the advice is thrown out. As soon as the clerk walks out, it seems as if the clerk walks out with his advice. Mr. Speaker, in addition to that, advice is sought from a politically neutral attorney. The advice comes because it did not, maybe because it did not meet or was to the satisfaction of the chairman of the committee. It was never discussed. It was never passed and voted on, whether we agreed with it or whether we did not agree with it. Yet, another piece of advice that was unsolicited by the committee was brought in and put in front of members. Mr. Speaker, that is unacceptable to me. Mr. Speaker, a motion is brought to the committee, and there are a million reasons why this motion should not be put. A lot of shenanigans. Mr. Speaker, maybe the chairman the chairman knew that the clerk of the committee knew her maths and knew how to count, and she knows what is a half of a number. And this is why he was afraid to put it. 33 is bigger than 32. Mr. Speaker, the motion is put on the agenda, it's put on asterisk, it disappears from the agenda. It was like our chairman was a Houdini, making things appear and disappear. Mr. Speaker, what I gleaned from all that went on over the last few months was that if something does not suit the chairman of the committee, it has no place in the Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Speaker, such a chairman I do not need, I have no confidence in, and I will not support. Mr. Speaker, plain and simply put, why was this motion not being put? What was the chairman afraid of? Why is this desperate need to hold on to the position of chairman of the Public Accounts Committee? Because it seems as if this is a life and death matter. Mr. Speaker, I don't know what motive is there, sinister or otherwise, to hold on to this position at all costs, not even entertaining a discussion on it. So, Mr. Speaker, we had to take this path to come here, to put it to the entire House, to put it to the nation of Guyana, and we will decide, because my constituents have been asking me, why do we have Mr. Patterson, honorable member, as the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee? And I will listen to my constituents. Mr. Speaker, we have listened to the people, and like I said, democracy has returned to Guyana. And once again, Mr. Speaker, once again, we will see democracy prevail. Mr. Speaker, I support the motion by my honorable colleague, Honorable Gail Teixeira, and I call for the removal of Mr. Patterson as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. Thank you.